By 2020, I had poured 8 years of blood, sweat, and tears into my air filter business. When COVID hit, the demand for clean air skyrocketed. As a result, my company's ability to meet rapidly increasing demand was being strangled by shipping companies.
Breaking news, stay at home.
U.S. businesses are changing strategies to handle increased demand.
Closing all non-essential businesses.
So this was the exact spot that I was standing when our FedEx rep came. He was warning me that within the next 2 weeks, FedEx was actually going to cut the number of trailers that we were able to ship from this location.
This is the story of how I doubled down and created a brand new factory from zero to fully functional in just 60 days and changed the trajectory of Filterbuy forever.
So my first day of work was March 2nd, 2020. Working for Filterbuy during that time gave me a real sense of purpose when it became clear that we were going to be essential to opening businesses, getting schools back, hospitals needed us. It was really something else. Governor Cuomo was having these weekly addresses. I think they might have even been daily. And he was talking about a path forward to reopen. And he mentioned MERV 13 air filters by name. We did not slow down operations in Talladega because we couldn't. We were trying to keep up with demand.
Originally, I had a 3 to 5 year plan of how to expand Filterbuy across the country. But as a result of COVID's impact, I had to find a way to cut that down to 2 months in order to meet the demand.
Museums to indoor dining. Could dirty air spread COVID-19?
Air conditioning may play a role in the coronavirus spike in the hot South. Devine says MERV filters could help stop that spread.
That's when I found an empty warehouse in Ogden, Utah, where everything I learned in Talladega could be built all under one roof.
When I started during COVID, it was nerve-wracking to come to a location and it was actually an empty canvas. To walk into a warehouse and see just empty, people were fearful, people were nervous, and we needed to bring clean air to everyone across the country.
Early on in COVID, Amazon stopped allowing third-party sellers to send product into their fulfillment centers, which is something that we were doing in a big way prior to that. And about 3 weeks later, FedEx made the decision that they were getting overloaded, specifically in the Southeast Center, and we're going to limit the number of packages that we could ship out of our Talladega facility in any given day. In order to get around that, I made the decision to quickly open up this Ogden, Utah center to serve the whole West Coast of the United States. FedEx gave us additional capacity out here, which allowed us to continue to serve our customers in the height of the pandemic. So you have to remember, when you first get a building like this, it's completely empty, generally no wiring or very minimal wiring, maybe some lights and the fans and whatnot. Anything that you need in the manufacturing process has to be built from scratch. Getting the electrical done is a big undertaking, or as you see, we use a lot of glue. So there's an intricate set of pipe that run each of these glue lines within the ceiling that feed into each of these machines. Then you have things like the pallet racking that need to be set up in a way that feeds the production efficiently. But once you put it in, it's very expensive to move it. So the cost of getting that wrong is very high. And so when I came in here, I immediately sketched out my plan for how I was going to build specifically this bay. Within the first 10 days, we had that plan and we were starting to put up the pallet racking, installing the machines, starting with 3 or 4 machines in the beginning. Within the first month, we were shipping our first filters that were manufactured here out the door to our customers. One of the advantages of having gone through the pain of the first 8 years of building this business is that I had the context and the understanding and the knowledge that it took in order to be able to take on something like this. I fought so hard to build this inventory. During COVID, we had trouble manufacturing, trying to build this place, living hand to mouth from an inventory perspective, which makes this business so hard to run. But I'm sitting here with abundance and we really have a system that works and that we can consistently deliver on our promise to our customers that we built through that adversity we kind of talked about. And so when I walk through here, I'm just incredibly proud and thankful for what we got.
After getting our Ogden facility up and running in under 60 days, I would soon use those lessons to build out even more factories across the country.
As everybody knows by now, I'm from Talladega, Alabama. I lived there for the first 18 years of my life. In the 90s, my family was in a business that was primarily servicing the textile industry, and I saw that get completely decimated with NAFTA. I saw how impactful that was and how painful that was for so many people. When my family was going through the sale of the family business, I just knew that if I put my mind to it, I could find a way to put that infrastructure to good use, put those people to good use, and build something big. I didn't know at that time even that it was going to be in air filters. I just knew that I was going to do that and I was going to commit to that. You know, these towns have been great to me. They've been great to our business because of my background. That's why I'm drawn to small towns, particularly for our manufacturing centers.
So I've been doing economic development for 27 years, and this was the fastest project that closed, to the best of my knowledge. When we walked into the building, he looked at it and says, I want it. I want the whole thing. And I dropped back and I let the broker talk to him, and I'm thinking, boy, this doesn't match his specs. He didn't even want this many square feet. And he said to me, and seriously, I'm not just saying this for the camera. He said to me, I can make a difference here.
If I remember correctly, I don't know how much I would have articulated, but I was not convinced I was going to manufacture here in the beginning. I thought I wasn't going to. I was just going to ship a product from Alabama. Yep. So I was initially just looking for a distribution center. And then I saw this, and then the light bulb went off that, hey, I can just manufacture here rather than shipping up product. That's how this ended up happening, is like when I realized I could get this space and probably make the economics of it work, and then have like an employee base that a town like this brings. Like, I love coming in, seeing a building like this as an empty shell, and then being able to stand here 3.5 years later, and we have a vibrant business and community that's been built within that, right? That's really rewarding and fulfilling. But if you remember, I think I initially promised you 120 jobs, and I think we doubled that by now.
How many do you have right now?
Last I checked, it was over 200.
So you are making a difference here.
I like to think so. I mean, we can walk in and you can see, but it's definitely one of these towns that's kind of been forgotten.
It has. So one of the, I guess, positives that came after COVID was more people started paying attention to their air filters, right? And changing them regularly and being cognizant of all the air around you. So I hope that business has continued to grow and you haven't seen a dip.
COVID really raised awareness and then allowed us to acquire a lot of customers in that period. And why I was so desperate to expand and to get the space here was because I realized how important being able to deliver quickly was. And then that customer base is what has stuck with us and is what has really driven our growth to now. So like 70% of our business last month was from previous customers. And so it's really that customer base that we were able to acquire in that period that's allowed us to continue to
That's great.
to grow. As I said earlier, by the time I got to this point in my journey, I already had a basic process in place that I had spent years working on and refining. So when I came here, it was very much a calculated risk. But when you make that decision, you have to be willing to act very quickly and commit to it fully. COVID happened. I had been preparing for this, whether I knew it or not, for 8 years. And I saw the opportunity and I took it. And I think that that's true with any part of life. At a time when many people around me were questioning, why are you doing this, forever shaped how I envision this company and where I intend to take it next. Don't forget to subscribe, because next week, I'm going to show you a part of the Filterbuy journey that I believe has the most potential yet. But it definitely didn't start that way. It started as one of the biggest financial blunders of my career. I think we need to take a little bit of a step back and talk about our first failed business acquisition. And I'll pour Dave a little bit of tequila for this one, because I think that it's...
Considering this story, a little bit more than a little might be warranted.